I say guys, welcome back into my video, and today I have a nice beautiful topic, which is how to achieve. I need you to understand that in order for you to achieve, you need to really be great, and you need to find greatness within, and you have to understand that greatness is part of you, and that you are part of something bigger, and that you understand that when you're looking inside, you'll always be great, and when you're looking outside, you'll always be a failure and a nobody. I need you to understand that those people who can really do something about it are the ones who are really broad, and they're really determined to give ideas, and they're really determined to really, I realize they're really determined to really do anything possible to achieve success. You need to be a person who's really foundational in what you're doing, and you need to really do it now. I mean, there's no better time than being able to really grasp more content and more entrepreneurial tasks, which are collective goals that together makes a big vision. You have to understand that you need a big vision, and the only vision that you need is to be better than yesterday. And that's the biggest vision that you can ever have in life. And you have to understand that there's no greater vision than working on yourself today. And you have to understand that when you're working on yourself daily and you're a person who can really be foundational in that, you're a person who's always growing, you're a person who's always happier than yesterday. I promise you that nobody else will solve your problems, because only you can do that. You understand that only you are the person who is able to really walk your steps, and only you have only lived your life. So the best thing you can do is to speak out your life and to really be abundant inside. So the best way to do that is never take poisons and never do drugs, because that way you're never poisoning the body, and that way you're going to feel richer. You have to understand that those people who go and live for the weekends are the ones who are poisoning themselves, and they have no passions, and you never need to be around those people, because they're usually in their 20s and also in their teenage years. And you have to understand that no matter what, that those people have no passions and are really going nowhere. You have to understand that in your 30s, you have to start getting more serious about success and more about personal development, because you understand that life's going to tumble you down. And if you're not a person growing, I promise you that life will knock you to your knees and keep you there if you don't lift up. You understand? Because if you're a person who is a victim today in terms of life, and you're a person who's negative and violent, you'll understand that no matter what, you may even be saying no at the moment, although you understand that when you keep growing, I will make sure that no matter what, that you keep it in a better way. You have to understand that you be a person who's never violent and angry and resentful and jealous of other people, because you understand that those people who grow are never jealous. You understand that those people who grow have more success and are always shining brighter. You need to be that type of person who really is never going nightclubs and nightlife, because you will understand that at 100 years of age, would you be doing that? You understand at 100 years of age, you have to understand it's more about music and creating music, and it's more about being on video and being around people who can really help you. I currently have this nice beautiful brainwave going on, which is a theta brainwave, and it's going all over the place. You have to understand your ego, Danny. I mean, there's no ego over here because I taught you something. You have to understand that when you're teaching something, you're never going to have an ego. And those people who have no ego can achieve more. And they're the ones who are really going to prosper, and they're the ones who are athletic, and they're the ones who are healthy, and they're the ones who can do something amazing. I mean, this is my 3rd hour video for today, and you have to understand that today is one of the days where I achieve it. And why is that? Because I'm using the mind more. I'm a person who uses my mind more, and I use my emotions to really grasp life and to do better. So I have to realize that no matter what, in order for me to achieve a 3-hour video, I really have to focus upon doing my 1-hour rule, and I have to stay inward and I have to stay inside, because outside there's nothing much to do outside, and I'm in Brisbane at the moment, and I've seen most of Brisbane. And for me to be able to be inside now and work on my content and realize that is the only way to live life, because there's nothing more important in my life than to boost my communication skills and help you in some kind of way before I do anything else. Because you have to understand that it's about compassion. You have to understand it's about being a better person, and make sure that no matter what, that your ego is always dying. You have to understand that your ego is never going to help you, and the best way that you can overtake the ego is to achieve more in a way that you're reading more, and in a way that you're really grasping a better mindset through ideas, and you're also making sure that you're writing them down, because that way You will be a person who can speak and relate with other people, and it's about speaking in a better way. You have to understand that most people are going to waste your time, and you have to really organize your time and how are you going to use up the rest of your life, because those people who have no time are the ones who are never doing anything about it. You have to understand, and those people who have more time are learning how to make more time. So what you focus on persists, and also you succeed in more. I today had a chance to go into a music section, and I really was about to give up, and then I said, no, Danny, I mean, you love music, I mean, you invested some money in this, I mean, I need you to start doing more. And I was realizing that no matter what, that now is my time, and now is my time. I realized that no matter what, that I now can do music greater because I push my mentality into it, I push my emotions into it. And I realized that it's more about the ego, and you have to understand that when it's more about the ego, it's more about overcoming the ego. You have to understand, I'm rich or better. You have to understand that when you're saying I'm rich or better, you're just removing any blockages from your life. And you have to understand that those people who are really foundational in what they're doing are the ones who are really never criticizing in a negative way, and they're always lifting. I need you to be around uplifting people. I need you to never talk to anybody except for your mentors in a daily life, and to just be talking with yourself all day long. I promise you that it's more important for you to talk with yourself all day long than to talk with anybody else, because the only person that can solve your problems is you, and the only person that can solve your life and your puzzle and your mystery and make you successful is you. I mean, I can give you the ideas. I understand that you must apply them, and you must walk your talk. You must be a person who's leading, you must be a person who is compassionate, and also you need to really figure out your blueprint, and your blueprint is something that you're passionate about, and you have to do that for free for the rest of your life. And you have to understand that, for example, when I make music, I may give $1,500, I then give it to you for free. I mean, I invested $1,500 so that I can make music and learn something about music, and that way I educate myself throughout music, and then I post it online for free. And why do I do that? Because that way I'm a much better person for it, because you get to hear something that I made, and that way you would much rather listen to it when it's for free than when it's a price or something. I rather never price for music at $2 because it's much more than $2, you understand? So you have to understand, I'll give it for free because that's the whole point of music, and it's the whole point of freedom. You have to understand, when you're doing work for free, you will be free, because you'll find ways to grow. You'll find ways to be a better person. You'll find ways to make kids and have more than enough money to be able to teach them. And you have to understand that money never teaches. You have to understand money never teaches, although you have to understand that you need more than enough of everything that's positive. And you understand that no matter what, that it's more about having no materials in life. I mean, have no objects in your life. And you have to realize that over time you're going to die. And it's really your ego that's dying. You understand? I mean, you're never dying. I mean, you are the internal soul that's living forever. Although this body that you see is going to get, let's say, more mature. And you inside must feel younger and younger and younger over time. So when you're 100 years of age, and I hope that you reach 100 years of age, I plan to live to 150. I have a goal to set, which is already set, to make sure that I get to 100 years of age. Because at the moment I'm eating the way I'm supposed to, and I'm never supposed to do anything, although I eat in a way that can get me there. And you guys can find the PDF in my Instagram right now. You guys have to understand that no matter what, you guys be people who have much bigger goals than me, and you have to understand that it's really about habits, and the better your habits, the more you can achieve. You have to understand that in the 20s and in the teenage years, most people are wasting time. You'll understand if you read the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, and I read that book a couple of times. You understand that he speaks about many ways that you can succeed today, and there's one that really came into the conclusion of how I became really successful, is the part where he says that people seldom succeed before 40 years of age because they're having fun, and they're having too much fun before the 40 years of age. And by the time they get to 40, I mean, they're people who are working 9 to 5, and they're in the mortgage rates, and they got nothing in terms of success and career. And they're people who are starting to get serious now because the fun is over. I mean, why is the fun over? Because you understand that they were having fun, and they were never growing. And that's why they're starting to get serious now. I mean, now's the time, all the time. I mean, now, since you understand that no matter what, that between the lifetime of up to 40 years of age, I promise you that most people in the world are seldom going to succeed, which means that they're going to succeed and then they're going to, and they're going to realize that there is a much better life than having fun. I realize that when you say seldom succeed, it means that you're going to succeed after that point. I'm rich or better. You understand that no matter what happens, that most people seldom succeed before 40, because those people are the ones that are just doing nothing, and they're going clubbing and they're not reading and they're watching TV and they're hanging around drug addicts and they're having too much sex and promiscuous sex and going brothels and going escorts and strippers and having bachelor parties and all of these parties going on. You understand? So you have to understand, you stay away from the parties, because the party and the barbecue party is never going to teach you anything. I promise you, those people never teach anything, and they're there to just have fun. Like, just girls love to have fun. I promise you, they just love to have fun. You understand? And you have to understand that 1% of the women are really, such as Elena Cardone, who is a person who taught me today, that many women have to really step up in a way that they have to leave the nightclub and they have to better themselves and have to get in the gym. And you have to understand that those women who are really reading, and those women who are bettering their mindsets and public speaking more and are able to become independent and then interdependent and manage other people and run their companies and have more money than other people, although it's never about the money. You have to understand, it's never about the money, and the money just comes along when you're a person who has skills and they're just building these skills. You understand that Elena Cardone got with Grant Cardone, who is a massive personal development person, and because she was a person who went from the fun side into the into the leadership side and into the personal development side, I promise you that she found the man that she was looking for, because otherwise she would have went the fun route and she would have married some idiot who has fun and has no personal development in his life and has no leadership. You understand? So I'm rich or better. You have to understand that you be a person who realizes that. It goes for both men and women in this video. You have to understand that men and women alike have to realize that sooner or later you have to get away from the nightclub, and you have to realize that it's never going to be for you, because when you get married and when you have kids, I promise you there's nothing in the nightclub anymore, because your wife and your husband is at home with their kids, and you have to go there and you have to be with them, and you have to start building something. You have to start building some leadership and some marketing abilities, and you have to get around the community that's helping you. And my community is just entrepreneurs who are solo. I go with them and I go with the wolves, because that way I never care to be in a local community and a Serbian community around here, because I never need them. You have to understand, I have something better than them and I have a better life. And you have to realize I've got nothing against Serbian people, although the ones from the past, you have to understand that I forgive them and everything, although I've just moved on, you understand, because it's never my life anymore. And the way I grew up with those people is so much more different than how I am today. And they're going one way and I'm going another way, and I just go the better way, you understand? So that is the difference between me and the Serbian people of the past. You have to understand that I'm a person who really does forgive. I forgive when other people forgive me, and I forgive anyway. I forgive no matter what, because you understand that when you hold grudges, it's going to tear you down and it's going to tear you apart. So the best way you can move forward is to achieve more with doing less. You understand? So, it's more about you doing more with less. You understand? So you're doing more and you're never doing less, although you have to do more with less. And what does that mean? You never need to be in a real estate all your life and in one area where you have to stay, and then you can realize that you can move around and do more like that with no real estate that you own. And you have to realize that it's more a smarter technique for you to be able to travel around. I travel around and I have just the clothes I have on me. I also have my shoulder bag, and I always have one set of clothes, and I may change it every few days. And I never do laundry, and I never do cleaning, and I never set up the bed. You understand? I may set up the bed just for now, and then once I leave the hostel, whatever, I realize that I set up the bed and everything, although my bed's ready for me. Understand? I mean, I have cleaners, I have toilet paper always ready. I never have to invest in toilet paper, and that's all doing more with less. You understand? Because I have cleaners, I have rubbish bin. I never have to invest in a rubbish bin. I never have to buy it. I never buy anything. And that way I'm always renting something. I'm renting an apartment here and now in Brisbane, and I'm at the Nomads Brisbane in Australia, because over here it's a nice beautiful apartment over here I have, and it's a 1 bedroom, and I have a privacy over here. I'm able to do videos, and I have people next door as well, and it's a very decent, quiet place to be in. Although it's a nice beautiful place for me to be in, because it's the only place in Australia that is for 28 bucks a night, and I never do it for money. I never do it for 28 bucks a night. I realize I do it for something greater. I come here to give $28 a night so that I can do 3-hour videos, because it's much more worth it to be able to have an apartment that's 1 room than be in a hostel with people in a 4 bedroom down next door or down the street, because over there it's 30 bucks for 4 beds. And I have 1 bed over here, and it's the best bed I've found. That's 1 apartment with 1 bedroom in Australia, in Brisbane Nomads, where it's $28 a night for 1 bedroom. I mean, that's an amazing deal. And also you do have Airbnb close by, and they're also they're also ranging at 34. Although I have Queen's Plaza right next to me, which is the main shopping center of Brisbane, and I have Woolworths 100 meters away, and it's a beautiful deal for 28 bucks. And I never do it for 28 bucks. I do it for something bigger. I realized that I also have to better my communication, because when I say that, I need to really say it's really I gave 28 bucks. I never say that it's for money. I never use the word for when there's money involved, because that way I never confuse myself. You need to realize that those people who are really, let's say, foundational in what they're doing are the ones who are giving TED Talks, and they're doing public speaking events around the world, and they're doing it for free, because it's about the attention. So when you get attention and you grab it, I mean, you can go on the street for it, and you realize that you need a microphone and you need something to do, and you can also DJ on the street, and you can do whatever it is you're doing, as long as they let you. And you have to understand, when they don't let you, you move on, and there's something better for you to do. Understand? So when people are trying to pin you down, and when people are trying to say that you cannot do something, I mean, go another way and do it anyway, in another fashion. You understand? So, I mean, there's always a new way that you can change approach, as Tony Robbins says. And that way, I'm always changing approach, and I'm always doing something beautiful. I mean, these brainwaves that I have are just really relaxing as I speak, and it's a nice way to do a video also, because it keeps me company and it keeps me relaxed throughout the video, although I can relax without it. Understand? I just use something to just listen to while I speak, and I can do it without it. You have to understand, it's just an idea where you may be also a person who can experience that for yourself and get on camera for 1 hour and speak the same way I do with theta brainwaves. And this one is really, let's say, a vibrational one, and you can hear it. You have to understand that when you're a person who is, let's say, much better than yesterday, you're going to do something far greater than other people. You have to understand that in Instagram right now, I'm keeping consistent, and I'm posting 60 photos of myself. I mean, 60 photos of myself. I mean, how many posts do you post a day on Instagram, and how many do you post in your story? Because I post 100 photos of myself a day inside Instagram, and I post 60 photos that are modeling ones of me inside my Instagram, and I make a pattern version with 10 posts each in a post, and I 10x it, as Grant Cardone's 10x rule says in his book, and I make sure to 10x everything, because that way I'm a much better person for it, and realizing that no matter what, I realize that I'm realizing much more than yesterday. Why is that? Because I'm learning. I have my offshore book over here. I have books online. I read from entrepreneurs, and as soon as an entrepreneur such as Lewis Howes has a new person inside of their podcast, I realize who they are, and I suss them out, and when I like them, I see that I would love to read their book and what they got. And then I go and get their book, because they're really foundational in the psychology of the mindset, and they've got something to say, so I may as well go when I'm interested. You have to understand that most people who are not interesting, I never go there. You have to understand that I'm interested only in the 1% of the world who is really interesting to me, because most of the world is never interesting, and I never go there. So be around people who are interesting and people who are really educating, because at the moment, guys, I'm living on my own, and I'm single, and I have no kids, and I have no wife, And I only have a biological father here in Australia, and I'm 28, although I'm 28 in one. I'm only number one in my life, and I'm number one because Jesus is number one. You have to understand, and because of that, you have to understand that everybody else that I have is just up there in terms of greatness. And I realized that it's only that I have Jesus Christ in life. And you have to realize that since I am here in Australia, I need to look for more opportunities for myself to get these attention spans and to realize to expand my business and to make people follow me. So what is the deal? I realized that I have to go on the street and be able to perform my lecturing and what I do here, and that's probably the best method that I can do, although I don't know what's going to happen. I realized that when I start speaking and do the 5-minute audition and I start speaking like this, I don't know if they're going to reject me or not, although I don't care. And if they do reject me, I realize that I'll go elsewhere and I'll do something else. You have to understand that it's more about go and give it a go, and that way you're just trying to help. And it's never that, it's never that you're trying to help, it's really that you're going to do it. And that way you've done it. You have to understand that no matter what, you go and make sure that you succeed much more anyway. You have to understand that when you're a person speaking about what you're going to do, you have to go and do it anyway. You have to understand that it's really about being a foundational person, and realize that when you're a person who's speaking more about what you're going to do before you even do it, you have lost the goal. So never even talk about what you're going to do, although talk about what you've done already, and that way you can really progress forward. At the moment, you have to understand that since I've already said all this, you have to understand that I've now really achieved it, although you have to understand that I'm a much better person for it. You have to understand it's really that no matter what happens, I'm always a better person. I'm always going to do something greater. You have to understand there's nothing holding me back to be able to do what I need to do. You need to realize that it's always about being a better person, and realize that you look inside and you never be angry about anything. You be a person who can really suss out what you're doing and be a person who can expand your mindset. When you're expanding, you're doing broad activities, and you're a person who's healthy and getting younger over time, because those people can achieve more. I realize that this whole video is about achieving more. So any ideas that you pick up, please make sure that you apply it. You have to understand it's really about attitude and gratitude, and you have to understand the multitude of your gratitude is the height of your aptitude, as Zig Ziglar says. You have to understand that no matter what, be a person who credits other people, and be a person who can realize that you can succeed when you believe in yourself. You can succeed when you have the gift right now. You understand? Because all you have to do is put it to action. And the only way you can do that is in a journal. And then all you do is you write about it and how you're going to do that. And then once you do it, you have to realize that you keep going and you keep rotating and you keep taking those next steps. And the steps are always ahead of you. And you have to understand the steps are always right now. You understand? So you can always see 10 steps ahead of you. You have to understand you just have to go and pick one step and just accomplish it. And it's a host of small goals that you have right now. Every day I have a goal of 3-hour videos that I have to do. I have a goal that I have to accomplish stuff with my music production. I have a goal that I have to groom every day. I have a goal that I have to sleep enough every single day. I have a goal that I have to go Woolworths every single day and get my food. I have a goal that I have to make sure, no matter what, that I keep consistent online and inside my Instagram. So these are my schedules, and I have to make sure that I do it. And no matter what happens, I must do it. Because consistency and dedication is key. And those people who can do it and provide quality work while they're at it, such as this video, for example, what I will be doing is, no matter what, that I always make sure that in my videos, I'm always exporting these videos in 320 pixels with a medium range quality. You understand? Because those people who export at 4000 HD and they post it on YouTube, I promise you that you can take up to 3 hours to even upload your 1-hour video, and it's never really time effective. And those people who upload at 720 pixels or 720 HD, you understand that they also can take up to 30 minutes or an hour to post those videos. So it depends on the internet, although when I post my 320 pixel video, which is this one, I realized that at the moment I'm recording with 720 pixels because it's a nice way to drop my pixel camera in a way that is much more fashionable, although you understand that the bigger caps, the bigger pixels you have, and never drugs, you never do drugs. You have to understand caps. I said caps. I have caps. I never have caps. You have to understand that a cap is really a hat. When you say caps, you have a cap. I mean, you'll never have a cat. You just be something much better than a cat. You have to understand, no matter what, you be a person who's just positive. I'm not a drug addict. I'm not a person who's going backwards. I'm not the ego. And that way you just straighten yourself out and you keep speaking in your video. Because if you get lost, you just keep getting back to the topic. You have to understand that when you're a person who is really doing better, you have to understand that you need to be a person who, for example, in your phone, you may be recording at 1080 HD. You understand? So you drop the video volume into, you drop it into 720 HD, and that way you can get an extra hour video inside. Because when you're taping for extra hour, it's going to absorb your memory. So when you're a person who goes on 720 HD, you may be able to get an extra hour of video because you recorded on 720 HD than on 1080 HD. So keep that in mind. Although, because I have a 120 gigabyte phone in terms of a Samsung A20 Galaxy, which is really a A51 Galaxy, I have my Samsung A20 Galaxy, which has 30 gigabytes of storage. And you have to understand that my A51 Galaxy has 120. So it allows me to do 6-hour videos. And this one allows me to do just 1 hour. You have to understand, I have to understand that because I invested $560 inside a Samsung A51 Galaxy, because it's more effective for me to be able to upload content, because each and every time I do 1 hour videos, I make sure that I keep consistent with it. Otherwise, if I do 3-hour videos, I can export it now in one video. You understand? Because over here, I used to do 3-hour videos. I used to try to export my videos, which are 3 hours, and it never does it because of the storage memory in my phone. And this time, now I have no problems. Although I just export 1-hour videos because it's nice and quick, and it's a nice way to teach in a 1-hour segment rather than rather than a 3-hour segment. I'd rather say that no matter what, that when you're doing 3 hours in a day, it's much more longer to speak and to achieve it. You have to understand that when you're doing segments where you're doing 3 videos that are 3 hours long, in terms of you're doing 3 hours that are 1 hour each long, that adds up to 3 hours every single day, you can realize that you can achieve it you can achieve it in small segments. You have to understand that since I do have a mega online storage, I have all these photos and branding photos and videos that I have to upload. So each and every day before I fall asleep, I make sure during the day I'm uploading photos and videos all the time. And that way I'm always deleting them from my phone so that I can increase my storage space inside my phone, because I have an online storage that has 2 terabytes of information, and I use that storage that I have online so that I can go and post it into my Instagram bio link, so that people like you can come into my video courses over here, which is inside my storage, and find my videos and be able to educate yourself and download it and use it for your schools and all of that nature. You have to understand that since I do use 320 pixels and I use the medium quality, because it's a nice way for me to really upload my video in less than 10 minutes. And that way, it's time effective and I get less stressed in a negative way, because when I have to wait 3 hours for my video to upload online, I've lost it completely. I have to wait that long. I never wait. So I never care about this lifetime, because this lifetime, you have to understand, I do better, although you have to understand that my videos are gonna last in this lifetime. And after my lifetime, I don't care. For the next 73 years, I promise you that 320 pixels, in terms of camera length and quality, is gonna be amazing. So use that quality, because you'll save 2 hours every single upload. You understand? So it's a nice way for you to never drive yourself insane. And those activities and techniques where you're never living a hard life is going to help you to live a smarter life. You have to understand, you have to go from harder to smarter. And whatever's harder for you, you must let it go, and you must never do it. Never be a removalist, and never be a person who goes and unloads containers in the warehouse, and never be a person who's driving a forklift, or a person who's sitting in an office all day because you're working for somebody else. I'm sitting in an office all day, although my office is the world inside. My office is inside. It's never outside. And I'm always living inside. So you have to understand that I can work anywhere in the outside world inside. Those people who are working in the office outside of me are working in one box, and they're staying there for the rest of their life, because guess what they have to do? They have to rise the charts, and they have to go up the corporate ladder and they have to do all this work to make sure that they make some money for their boss, so that their boss can give them a pay rise. And that's never the point either. You have to understand the whole point is have no boss in life and make sure that you're the boss. Because that way, you give yourself a pay rise all the time. You understand? Because at the moment, I give myself a capital rise. I give myself a capital rise. I never pay anything to anybody. I only invest time. I never do pay rises. I make sure that I increase my capital all the time. So those people who need an extra $3 of capital per hour, you have to understand, you just quit the alcohol and you have $20 a day of capital extra. I mean, you have a $20 an hour more when you just quit the alcohol. I mean, why are you seeking to go and get from your boss and $3 extra per hour when you're drinking alcohol? I mean, you can just drop the alcohol and you can have your nice, beautiful capital raise for the year. You understand? So be a person who realizes that alcohol and drugs and cigarettes and pharmaceutical medications are all going to add up when you're doing it. And you have to understand that you never do it. You never do pharmaceutical medications and drugs and legal drugs and illegal drugs, because it adds up to health. And those people who do it, you understand that they are really losing more than what they're getting in terms of money, because you understand that the money is never important. And what's important is the health associated with your life. You have to understand that you have one life to live, and you may as well live it much better and in a healthier fashion than being around people who have to smoke in front of you. And you have to understand that when people are smoking in front of you and you're not a smoker and you're completely healthy and they're blowing smoke in your face, I promise you it's the worst thing that you can do to be around those people, because they don't even care about your health. Because you understand that when you're around criminals, I promise you they try to make you one. You understand? I promise you they actually make you one because you're around them. So never be around them. I mean, when you're around drug addicts, I promise you they will say, you would love to try this? You have to understand that no matter what, they'll keep asking you. And they'll say that it's so good and that you'll love it and that you can only get it for this much and it's really cheap. You have to understand that there is no such thing as cheap and there's no such thing as expensive. You only go for what's affordable, and drugs is a luxury item. You understand? I mean, drugs is just like the Ferrari. I mean, it's never going to satisfy you. I mean, it's never going to help you to succeed. I mean, you have a Ferrari today. I mean, what are you going to do with it? I mean, you're going to drive your friends around who are your school friends and people who don't even love you. You understand? Because as soon as you have $1 trillion and they have $100,000, I promise you that they're going to be jealous of you. I promise you that you'll be gone from them, because they're going to go to a 9-to-5 job and they have families and they have to make kids and they have to go around the crowd. While you have the $1 trillion, you can go and meet new people and celebrities and people who matter to you in terms of life, and you can go make these big events. And why would you be around the middle class people in the first place? Understand? So you have to realize that those people who are around you, why would you drive them at all? I mean, let them drive you. You understand? So you have to realize that you let people drive you only, and you've ordered the limo. You get the limo and you say, I need a limo over here, and you just go in your limo and you relax. You can look at Daniel Locke, for example, who is an entrepreneur, and he's always in a limo. I mean, the guy's always driving a limo somewhere. I mean, he has a Chrysler. I mean, the Chrysler looks like a limo. Understand? Although you understand that when you are getting driven by junkies and people who are drug addicts and people who have nothing to do with you in terms of growth, you understand you're wasting time and you're having too much fun. I used to be that person who had a Toyota Starlet 996 version. And I put some subwoofers in because I never had subwoofers. And I pumped it. I pumped some hardstyle. I was pumping trance, and I was always going 1 hour driving to the city and backwards to go nightclubbing, and I was driving a couple boys and a few boys with me. You have to understand that I was doing that for over 4 months, and then guess what happened? I just left them. I completely left them, and I promise you it's the best decision I've ever done, because guess what? I started to travel for 1 year and 2 weeks. And guess what they've been doing? I mean, they've been picking up women, and they've been working a 9-to-5 job, and they may have got laid maybe 10 times in the 1 year. I, although, got to see Hobart and Adelaide and Brisbane twice, and Byron Bay. I went to Gold Coast, I went to Sunshine Coast, I went to Perth, I went to Cairns, I went to Townsville, I went to Magnetic Island in 1 year. I went to Australia Zoo for the first time to see Steve Irwin's nice, beautiful territory over there. And it stands because You have to understand, because as I was growing up, I used to watch Steve Irwin, who's a crocodile hunter here in Australia, and he was always going, "Oh, crikey!" And he would see a alligator and he would jump on it. You understand? I mean, he would get his team together and he would try to catch it. You have to understand that is how I grew up. You understand? So I went to see his nice, beautiful territory, and I got to see how the crocodile would come and jump and eat and all of that. You have to understand that is the first time I experienced something, and I went on my own, and I promise you that nobody else came with me around Australia for 1 year and 2 weeks. And how did I do it? I realized that I just built my habits, and I was a person who was able to do everything in terms of planning, and I still do it. You have to understand, I'm always able to do everything I can to succeed, and I'm still planning, and I'm still using every single technique in my book to make sure that no matter what, I have more skills, and I have a little bit of wisdom, and I grow that little bit of wisdom into a big wisdom. Do you understand? I mean, you have a story. You have a story, you write it down, and you keep talking with yourself on a daily basis in a repetitive way. You just keep talking. You keep talking, and you're a person who's really foundational in your life, and you're actually succeeding. And right now I'm really vibing, because at the moment I'm so excited. I'm so excited because my life is going better. And it's really a nice, beautiful factor in my life to be able to express that and to be able to show you my good vibes. And I was a person who had no good vibes before. I was never interesting. I was a fat person. I mean, nobody wanted to be around me. I never even wanted to be around me. You understand? So I really disliked myself, and I started to really get in the mirror more often, and I started to watch myself, and I started to brush my teeth, and I started to take control of my grooming, and I started to brush my teeth, and I started to get off the drugs. I had to get off the cigarettes, I had to get off the caffeine, I had to overcome meat, I had to lose 47 kilos, I had to start walking the block, I had to start leaving the crowd, I had to start leaving my biological dad to go and live on my own. I had to use the money on my own, and nobody to help me invest the money, so I had to really see how to do that, and I had to invest the money into accommodation, and I had to really go by that rule, and I had to start inputting the finances that I have every single day and where my finances is going. I mean, I have to be conscious about where my money is going, and my money is something to do with wisdom. So no matter what, you have to understand that when I input finances, I go to the Woolworths today, and I may give some money for some food, and I never do it for food, I do it for something greater. You understand? I only live for something greater. I never live for the food. I now input $10 or something, or whatever the amount is, I put it, and I said food and drink. You understand? I just put it there, and then each and every year I have a plus, I have a surplus. So in 2018 it was 150 surplus. I had $150 more than in a negative manner. I mean, I made some more money that year. I probably should. The next year later, in 2019, I have 2,150 bucks in surplus. I mean, because I've been really consciously investing the money I have, and I've been staying away from certain places, as Grant Cardone says, and time energy techniques, and I've been managing my time better, and I've increased my finances that way. And now in 2020, I have over 3,600 bucks, because guess what? Now you can see a nice, beautiful timeline. My actual capital for the year is raising, and it's rising. You understand? Because I'm really looking at where my finances are going, and I'm staying away from the subscriptions. I'm staying away from the lease of renting an apartment for 6 months, because once you lease and once you rent something for 1 year or 6 months in terms of accommodation, I promise you that you sign the contract and you have to be there. So never sign contracts, please, and never get into one for anything, because otherwise they file a lawsuit on you and you have to give the money. I'm rich or better. You have to understand that you need to be a person who's always unlocking yourself. You have to realize that it's really about go and do something today that's really going to help you to do something more in terms of mindset, and in terms of spirituality, and in terms of writing. So the best way that you can do to achieve everything that you ever need is get smarter. And whatever's going to make you smarter today is your ability to do more. And the more you can do, and the more energy you have, and the more nutritional value that you can provide for yourself in something greater, you understand? Because you're not doing it for yourself, you're doing it for something greater than you. You have to have a higher purpose. You have to have a higher purpose than yourself. So do it for something bigger than yourself. I mean, when you're letting the woman go first, or the man go first, or people go first in the bus, or you're going last, or whatever, and the person opens the door and he says, you must go first, and you're saying, you must go first, and I realize that you just go and do what's for the greater good. I mean, go first when the person's saying go first. Do you understand? And when the person's saying you go, and you just go, you understand? I mean, there's no trouble because you're not doing it for that person, you're doing it for something greater. I mean, be a person who's never getting told what to do though. I mean, when people are bossing you around and saying, you clean toilets and you clean rubbish, I mean, you never need that, because otherwise you're working for money, and that's where you get told what to do. And I never work for money, and that's why I'm the boss. I'm the boss of my life because I never have to work for money. And those people who work a 9-to-5 job always have a boss. I mean, they're always very scared to stand up to the boss. And me, in terms of I never have a boss, because guess what? My boss is something bigger than me. You understand? You have to understand, my boss is something greater that loves me more than I do. And I just work for that boss because I get everything in terms of freedom. I get a love that I can never even describe. You have to understand, I can describe much more than yesterday, and I can always do anything that I set my mind to, although you can never describe what can never be described. You understand? You need to be a person who can really, you need to be a person who can make yourself unlimited. So be a person who's never frustrated, and be a person who's happier than yesterday. And I realized that today I did my music and I'm very much happier today. I'm too much happy. And that's the whole point. I realized that in those communication skills, I have to realize that it's never about very much happy, and it's really about I'm happier than yesterday. I'm rich or better. You have to understand that those people who are really clearing their methods out are going to be able to say I'm rich or better. And that way I am just able to forgive that way. I'm able to outgrow my mindset. I'm able to give you ideas. I'm able to realize that no matter what, you stay to the topic and you realize that about achievement, you have to realize that it's about personal freedom, and it's about financial freedom and emotional freedom. So those are the three that you have to realize. You have to get yourself personal freedom, you have to get yourself financial freedom, and you have to understand that it's about emotional freedom. So I have personal freedom when I left my biological dad over a year ago, and I started to live alone for 4 months, and I left Sydney and I went travel the world in terms of Australia for 1 year and 2 months, and still going. And you have to realize that I've been independent for 1 year and 5 months now, and I've been personally independent because of that, because I never relied on anybody. And you have to understand that sometimes I did ask my biological father for some money, and he's given me some money, although you have to understand that I'm the one who's been helping myself the most. You have to understand that you need to be that person also in your life. You need to be able to help yourself, because nobody's going to help you nobody's going to help you unless you help yourself. I mean, the more you have a personal freedom in life, probably the more you can work on other areas of your life where it's going to be easier for you to live life. Because my biological dad was really holding me back in terms of life. I mean, he was always watching me, and he was always watching me, and he was always making me feel like a kid. You understand? So I never had to repeat myself, because I said that sentence twice, and I realized that I own up to it. And you have to realize that those people who are living with their parents, their parents are going to shove them down, and they're going to ask them for money, and they're going to really say that you can never bring a woman home, and you can never do this, and you can never do that. You have to realize that no matter what, you never need a woman or man to be in your household and where your parents are in the first place. You understand? Because you never chase people. You have to understand, you let people come to you, and you be a person who can really be a better person. You be a better person, and when you are looking for emotional freedom in life, you understand that it's about being sober and being vegan. It's more about the nutrition you're doing, and it's more about the physical exercise, and it's also more about the knowledge that you read. You understand that it's also about what you are putting into your body as much as it is about what you're listening to. You understand? Because what you listen to and who you surround yourself with is your emotional freedom. So if you're around junkies, you'll be one, and you'll also be a person who is poisonous in terms of you're poisoning your body. And you understand that I was around a biological father, and luckily I did have one. You have to understand I still have one. You have to understand that luckily I do have a biological father, and I was around him growing up, and he's a poisonous one in terms of cigarettes, and he has cigarettes, although you have to understand that he has a good side and a bad side. You understand? And his bad side was really, let's say, he was drinking caffeine, and he was smoking cigarettes, and he was watching TV. I promise you that he was never teaching me anything unless I asked him something, and most of the time he doesn't know, and I don't know either. And you have to understand that when you say something that other people don't know, I need you to say I don't know either. You understand? Because otherwise, if you know something more than that other person, that means that you are really egotistical. So never be egotistical and never say that you know more than other people, because otherwise you're a know-it-all, and you never do that. You have to be a student. Understand? So be a student of the kid. And my biological father was never a student of me, and was never a student of I at first. You have to understand, because as I was growing up, I promise you everything that I ever done, that he would kick it down and he would say, that's shit, and you will do better. And I promise you that he never even encouraged me. I mean, he never even said to do better. Understand? I mean, the best that he would give me is, okay. I mean, I give him something classified as something better in life, and he would say, okay. I mean, he would say, that's all right. I mean, that's the best I would get in life about my achievements. I mean, everything that I've achieved in life, I mean, he would say, that's all right. You understand? So no matter what, I'm always doing better than him anyway. You have to understand that he will never admit to that. And you can understand that he would lift me with some money if I asked him. So no matter what, I still never ask him, because my biological father lives basically on a certain income, which is a certain capital or certain money requirement, and he lives on the government's pension. And I never ask him, because that's his money, and I really have to start stepping up anyway to never ask my parents for money, because I do better than them anyway. And so I move on. I realize that no matter what, you never get hurt anyway, although you realize that you just have to roll the show, and life is going to hurt you if you let it. So make sure that you understand Sylvester Stallone's beautiful quote when he says that life will beat you down if you let it. You understand? So never let people bash you. You understand? So you have to understand, you need to be into a better position where they can never bash you. I mean, be smarter than them. And when you're about to get into violence, walk away, please. I need you to walk away, please. I need you to understand that sometimes the ego is going to say something really quickly, and you need to put your eye there really quickly. You need to start repeating those sentences really quickly with your eye. Because just then I said, walk away, please. And then I repeated it and I said, I need you to walk away, please. I realized that I said, walk away, please, first. And there was no I there. I then went back. Did you realize? I mean, you can go and rewind this video, and that way I do improve my communication skills. I then said, I need you guys to walk away, please. I had an I sentence there to connect the dots, and that way I connect the dots with my I and you faction. And when I do that, I have my question faction also with the you and I faction, and I'm always better in my life. I'm always looking for new opportunities, and that's the whole point of life. Because when you're making your own opportunities, and when you're doing something around the world that is inside, that's going to be greater than the outside world. I mean, the outside world is always going to put you down, and they're going to disappoint you. Although when you look inside, I promise you, you are unshakable. You are like the water and the tidal wave, and you are a person who is never a natural disaster. You have to understand. Although you're much better than that, and you're going to realize that nothing can affect you. And those people who are outside going for other people in terms of life, is looking too much outside. So if you're a person who looks like a woman and she's going for another man and never for you, you are depressed because you're looking too much outside and you're focusing too much on who are they going for. And I never ask the question, who are they going for? Because I never care about the outside world and its woman. I mean, I only care about the people who are coming my way and learning from me. I only care about the students that I had. I only care about something bigger. So no matter what, I'm a person who's always growing, and those people who do give you love and give you free love, I mean, cherish it. You understand? I mean, cherish it. You have to understand that it's free. And when you're asking for free love, I mean, you can ask, although some people will give you, and some people will say, give me some money to give you some free love, because guess what? They're conditioned to make some money first. I mean, before they can even give you some free love, they need some money from you, and you never do that. I mean, I'm a person who give you free love. I'll give you free love when you need it and when you ask me for it. I never expect money in return. And so I'm that kind of person, although I expect you to be valuable. I only hang around with valuable people in life. I never care about those people who have no value to give me, because they're wasting my time, and my time is freedom. And I need to make sure that I can better my life and have more freedom than hang around with people who have no lives, because I can give them free love and as much free love as they need in life, although they'll never appreciate it because they never appreciate my time. and because they never appreciate my time, I have to go elsewhere and say goodbye. And because I never reply, you have to understand, I give them free knowledge anyway here, and you have to understand that my time is more valuable than them, because they would rather have a conversation for 1 hour with me about how my life is going than really talking business with me. You understand? And what kind of business am I talking about? I mean, have me on your show. I mean, have me in your podcast. I mean, give me a public speaking gig. I mean, give me some attention. I mean, make me more popular. I mean, share me around. I mean, show me that you appreciate me. I mean, just say a compliment or something like that. I mean, make sure that you promote me somewhere and show me a video of that nature. Make sure that no matter what, that you ask to be in a video with me and to promote me around or something like that. You have to understand that is what I appreciate. I appreciate when people need that quality of business with me, because when you're a person who just needs to say hi and how are you going or hey on Instagram, because no matter what, most people are fake when they do it. You have to understand that most accounts on Facebook are fake. You understand? So most people are coming up to me and half of them are fake and have 2 photos. You have to understand. And the ones that are really criticizing me and being negative, I promise you they have less than 30 photos inside Instagram. I mean, most of them, half of the 50% are private accounts, and half of them have 30 photos. I mean, they have no bio link. I mean, they're really unsuccessful people and they're really jealous. I'm rich or better. I realize that you be a person who's never jealous, and you realize that you just keep communicating and you upload your videos as fast as you can. You upload your content as fast as you can online, and use something like a mega drive or online storage to do it, because my mega storage online is much better than YouTube. I mean, it's so much better. I get to put some PDFs. I get to put some PDFs in terms of my photos also, and my videos and my audio podcasts, and I never have to make thumbnails. I never have to make thumbnails for YouTube. I never have to look at YouTube. I never have to need YouTube unless I'm watching mentors. And I surround myself around those people, because in the long run, I'll find a way. I'll find a way to succeed. I'll find more ways. You have to understand that no matter what, I'm always doing it in the moment. I'm always living in the moment. And it's about really help yourself to succeed in a way that you're showing yourself in a better manner. I mean, those people who expose themselves are able to achieve much greater heights of success. So you have to understand that I've had a journal for 2 years. And because I've explained my story as much as I can in that 2 years. And my journey is still going. Although the sooner you start giving your story, I promise you in the 10 years that is coming ahead, I promise you you're going to be better off having written 10 years of your story and put it on video and into images and into a PDF or audio or video or quotes. You have to understand. And that way, over the 10 years and 20 years and 30 years, and the more you continue doing your story and you enjoy the process, I promise you that more people are going to come and look at you, because you're more of you're more of an attention seeker, because you've exposed yourself and you've got no flaws, because now all of a sudden all your flaws have disappeared, because you're a person who's exposed yourself completely, and you're completely happier doing that, because you've explained who you are, and there's no secrecy holding you back, and there's no shyness, and there's no anxiety, and there's no guilt, and there's no shame about you anymore, because you've exposed everything. I promise you that those days where I used to watch pornography and masturbate, 3 years ago I used to say I quit masturbation and pornography, and I did. I was quitting and I was quitting and I was quitting, and sometimes I'd fail. And then guess what happens? I started to fear before. I started to fear that somebody may find me out, because before that I said I'd never do it, and then I failed. And what do I do now? If I continue the pornography and masturbation, you understand that he's really a hypocrite who's doing that. I realized it's really that I said I would never do it again, and then I started doing it. I failed, I relapsed, and then I started doing it more and more. And guess what I started to do? I started to expose it more and more about the mistakes I made inside my journal. And I said, today I did some pornography and I did also masturbation. I realized that I quit pornography and masturbation. You have to understand that you watch your words, because what you say is what comes into flesh. So you have to understand Robert Kiyosaki's quote, and it comes from the Bible in terms of Jesus Christ. You have to understand that what you speak out is who you are today. So be a positive person who's speaking more positivity into the world, and never be a person who's going behind people's backs and talking about people in a negative way, because those people are low lives and they have got nothing to do. When people are screwing you and scamming you and causing you violence and exerting control of you, and are people who have taken something from you in terms of a wife or a husband, or have robbed you in some kind of way, I promise you that you let it be and let go of it, because you become richer in some other fashion. You understand? So you have to understand that if you're a person who never forgives, you're a person who is more likely to go and kill the people. You understand? So never do that. I mean, let go and just let them. I mean, let them do what they do. You understand? Because sooner or later, you're going to understand that they're unaware of what they're doing. I mean, people who are killing other people today, I promise you they're unaware of what they're doing. I promise you it's never the best way to kill. I mean, you never kill in the first place. I sounded like a serial killer. You have to understand that you never kill, and you follow the Jesus rules. You follow the laws of abundance, which are the 10 commandments in the Bible, and it's the best commandments in the world, and it's the actual law of today, because those people who do kill are going to jail and will be there for the rest of their lives, and they're also going to go on death row, and they're going to die very early. You understand? Because you killed someone, and it's never the way, because the way is freedom, and we have freedom to live because there's no one attacking us. I mean, there's nobody attacking us. I realize that many people get confused around the no one and the nobody. You have to realize that no one really means any one person. You have to realize that nobody is also somebody. You understand? So realize those terms, and every time I now may repeat in a no one sentence, I realize that it's really one sentence. You have to understand that now, since I may repeat it that way, I would say and go back on it, and I would say nobody, because a nobody is a somebody in a way that you're going to better yourself. You have to teach it much more and go back on your words so you can help reflect and correct them in a better way, because you need to be grammatically correct, and yeah, you need some literature in your life. I mean, you need some literature, because the more positivity you have is the more vocabulary you have, and the more you can speak English and your language. So be a person who can speak your language. I mean, I can hire people to go and, for example, speak this audio in their own language. I mean, I can be speaking and the guy will be saying in their own language about what I'm saying. You understand? And then they're going to send me the audio, and then I can also put it inside my university. You understand that it's really easy to do that, and it's really easy to go throughout all my content and translate it into your languages. And I hope that you guys do it, please. And I appreciate that you do it for freedom. You have to understand that you go and do that, because it's really worth it for other people to go and understand you, because that way you have your one video in 50 languages, and people have no excuses to say that, oh, you never did a French one, and that's why I never listened. You understand? So make sure that no matter what, that those people who are French in your area, I mean, when you're so interested about what I've said, I mean, give some money to somebody to go and really get this translation about what I said into your own language so that you can hear it. You understand? I mean, there's no excuses. You understand? Because you may give $50, although this video is much more worth it than $50. You understand? So be a person who's really giving value and doing it for free, because I'll never price my music that I have with Leo Bar $2 on the internet. I never care about that. I mean, there are people out there who are making money on my actual music and ringtones. I realize that I don't care, although it's really a much beneficial way for me to get my music out there anyway for free. I don't care. You understand? Because I care about giving. I'm much more of a giver today, and I'm much more happier today because I have my music and I have life coaching also. And I have no degrees, although my degree, I promise you, my degree is better than yesterday. You understand? I'm a better person. I'm a better person now than I ever was. I'm a better attitude. I'm a better public speaker. I'm a better communicator. I look better. I'm at my prime, and I'm continuing to live a life of greatness. You have to understand that you need to be a person who can really study upon life and be able to be a better person. I need you to go also read Brian Tracy's book, The Law of Achievement. The laws of success and achievement, because that book's also going to give you some value. And you have to understand that you repeat the book 3-4 times to understand it. You make sure that you repeat content over and over again, unless you never have to. You understand? I repeat content when I have to. So what I may do is I may listen to an audiobook and something distracts me. I just go blah, 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 and I go 30 seconds backward, and I realize no matter what, that person repeats what they said, and that person may have laughed at that, although I never found it funny. You understand? So sometimes those kind of moments where somebody may find something so interesting, although I never really found it interesting. You understand? So there's always different tastes and different cultures and different people where one person may laugh at something, although somebody may never. I realize when I act like an idiot and I do something really funny that's really smart, and they never laugh, I realize that it's really them and it's never really me, because I never act like an idiot who's stupid. I act like a stupid idiot when I'm smart. You understand? I'm only smart in life. I'm never stupid. I'm never a idiot, because I'm always smart. I'm always doing what smart people do. I'm always around smart people. I realize that is all I ever need, and all I ever need is just to do more, and I just do more every day because that's my needs, and I look at my needs more than my wants. And what you want is never what you need right now. I mean, you want many things in your life. I mean, you want the jet right now. I mean, what do you need today to get the jet? I mean, you see the difference? I mean, you have to understand that I am only a person who needs today what I need to be able to set goals to achieve more. So be that type of person who can achieve the jet and achieve everything in your life that you have with what you have right now. You understand? So plan for it every single day. I mean, if you're not planning for the next 73 years and you never had a goal to plan for the next 73 years, I mean, you understand that you're going to be a failure, because you need to plan for the next 73 years to become a person who achieves $50 billion. You understand? So you need to do that, because if you never had a goal to do that, guess what? You're never going to achieve it. So have a goal to plan for the next 73 years to be better than yesterday, because that is the $50 billion. You understand? I promise you, it's much easier to be better than yesterday than it is to make the $50 billion. Because once you make the $50 billion, you've actually become better than yesterday. You have to understand that money, in terms of the outside world's money and the money that they print in terms of plastic money and the stock market currencies, I promise you that's all a bunch of fake crap. What you need to realize that the real deal is be better than yesterday, and that's the only foundational trademark in business and growth and spirituality, is be a better attitude, as Dr. Wayne Dyer says. You have to understand that spirituality is all about being better than yesterday, and those people who are better than yesterday are always going to have everything. I promise you, those people who have all the money in the world and are never better than yesterday, I promise you, those people have lost it. You understand? I promise you, those people have nothing. I mean, they're holding on to this for dear life. I mean, they're holding to plastic paper for dear life, because this is plastic. You understand? Because they believe that money outside are going to help them in some kind of way, because that's never going to help what's inside. I promise you, what's outside will never help you what's inside. I promise you that you can go inside and help your insides, because nobody else can. I promise you, nobody else can go dwell inside of you to tell you how to live your life. And if you allow that, and you go to a 9-to-5 job and people are saying for you in terms of what you must do, you have to understand, you let them do it for you, you just go do it for something greater. You never do it for the money. You never do it for them. You understand? You have a boss who's something greater than that person who is in your field and who you work for. Because who you work for is something greater. You understand? You be a person of that nature. You never be a person who's working for money and who's getting told what to do, because guess what? I have no boss, and you deserve that too. I'm never bossing you around. I promise you, those people who give you $20 per hour, I promise you, they're the ones kicking you up the ass, because they don't care about you. You understand? I mean, they don't care about you. I mean, they may give you a $5 pay rise. I realize there's no such thing as pay rise. I mean, they may boost your capital by $5 because you said something nice. And then as soon as you leave the place, I promise you that is gone. I promise you, as soon as you leave that company, I promise you that capital raise, that $5, I promise you that's gone. I mean, where's the boss now? You understand? You need to be a person who's realizing that now, because a 9-to-5 is a trap and it's a rat race. And you have to understand, the rat race only breeds more rat race. So the only way to get out of the rat race is to have a side hustle and get away from the rat race. I mean, leave it altogether and go and find a passion that you can do for free. I mean, copy me and use my words in a paraphrasing way and be another type of me in your own unique way. You understand? I mean, use what I have in my Mega Drive and make sure that you emulate it and do the same thing, although you're doing it in your own way. I promise you that you'll never be able to repeat every single word I've ever said in my life. I mean, go and repeat no words I've said, although go and use my tactics and repeat it in your own way. I mean, when I write a quote, I mean, I may say, greatness is solitude. I mean, you look at that quote and then you get that quote and you go and paraphrase it. I mean, you go and use my quote. You put it on your laptop and you see the quote, you get into your phone, you say, how can I paraphrase this? I would say, greatness is solitude because when you're inside, you're always never going to be without. I mean, that's your own quote. You just made you made your own quote. You're going to make 50,000 of them now because I have over 23,000. And by the time you do that, you have to understand I'll make more and it'll be 50,000. And you have to understand you just keep doing it. And the smarter you get that way, I mean, the more you paraphrase in your own language, whatever it is that you can understand, you will understand to be a unique person more and more. Understand? So what I've used in this video, go and teach it in your own way. I mean, you can never ever talk like me, and you can never ever be me, and you can never ever do things like me. I was trying to be Armin van Buuren. I was trying to be Deadmau5 in the music section. I was trying to make exact music like as they do because I was so inspired. I'm still so inspired. I'm still inspired by their music. Understand? So you have to understand that no matter what, I'm inspired by something greater than most. You understand? So when you're trying to be like somebody else exactly, I promise you have problems. So be a person who's never trying to be like anybody. I mean, never try to be like anybody. I mean, never try in the first place. I mean, never try. You understand? Because the whole point is to make yourself unique. I mean, make yourself your number one asset in life. And my number one asset is something greater. So whatever is greater is what's better for me in life. And I just make sure I'm always leaving room for something bigger than me in life, because that way I'm never striving, I'm thriving to get it. And I'm lifting, and I'm always lifting those people around me. I'm never doing bad in the world. I'm never doing any misdeeds in the world. I'm doing much more than yesterday. I'm always doing anything that's much better. And for example, the mate that is really growing you, you understand that those people are going to really help you. Understand? So no matter what, being around those people who are giving you more ideas, such as I am today. You understand? So there are many people such as I who are giving ideas in terms of business and planning strategies and life and spirituality and being in the moment and meditation and articles and personal development theories and health and nutrition and veganism. You understand that also in exercise and bodybuilding muscles and in bodybuilding. You have to understand that those people who are also giving traveling ideas and anything of that nature, you can do that and just do it in your own way and create a nice how-to series about it. I'm rich or better. And then once you do that, you'll be more inspired to live a life without the rat race. I mean, my passion is traveling and music, and it's also something greater than me. And it's also living inside. I realize it's these life coaching videos and branding myself and modeling myself and staying consistent and being better than yesterday, and also veganism and sobriety and making sure I'm always better than yesterday. I realize that I have goals and I will achieve them. I still achieve them. I achieve my goals. I promise you, I set my goals, I'll achieve them. I achieve them because I every day plan for them. I achieve it. I mean, what I set my mind to, I achieve it. You understand? Because I have a plan. And the plan is an action step. And it's what one step will get me there right now. I mean, what's the first step? I'll go and do it now. I mean, it's called Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy's book. You understand? I mean, go read the book, Eat That Frog. I realize that when it's a hard step, you go through it. You go and get it. You understand? I mean, when it's really difficult, you just go and overcome it. Because that's the best way. You have to eat the frog, as Brian Tracy says. You understand? So be that type of person who's always eating those frogs in life. I mean, when you're doing it the easy way, you have it the hard way. I promise you, when you're doing it the hard way, you have it the easy way. So it's really doing it's really doing it the smart way. Do it the smarter way than the harder way. You understand? You're never doing it the harder way, you're doing it the smarter way. So you realize that it's really never work harder, it's work smarter. I realize it's work smarter. You have to understand that those people who are more tough on themselves is what I'll say now, that relates to this question, which is an amazing aspect of life. You have to understand that negative questions, I will say that there is no such thing as a negative question. You understand? Although you'll be a person who may ask a question that never helps you, and those are negative questions, although you understand that you ask yourself great questions that grow you. You have to understand that you just be a person who realizes that overall a question is never negative. You have to understand that now you need to be a person who's doing tougher on yourself to live an easier life. The more disciplined you are, the more easier of a life you have. And to be disciplined, you need to be tougher on yourself. And those people who are easy on themselves are making excuses and blaming and complaining. And they are the ones who are living the hard lifestyle. So between easy and hard, it's never to be living hard. Go and live smarter. And that way you have an easier life. You understand? Because the smarter way is being tougher on yourself. And when you're tougher on yourself, when you're harder on yourself to be better than yesterday, you always find the easier road. And those people who are going the easy road are the ones who are smarter. You understand? So you go the easy road to be smarter. You never go the hard way to be dumber. You understand? Because those people are lifting all these weights in terms of the 9 to 5 work and the laborers. What's a laboring job going to do for you? You're breaking your back to remove pallets. And what's the point of that? You're in a warehouse all day. You're working for 12 hours. I realize that Japan are working for many hours of the day. Although you have to understand that even their 12, you have to understand that people have to work. And when people in Japan are working 12 hours a day, you have to understand that that's a problem, because you need to work 24/7. An entrepreneur works all the time. There's nothing holding them back to work. I get up, I work straight away. And that's the whole point of life. I realize that when you're working a 9 to 5 job and you're working extra hours, you've been sold on money. And when you're working that hard, I promise you that no matter what, that the 9 to 5 job is a hard job. I don't care what it is. It can be communications. It can be bartending. I realize that it can be waitering. I realize it can be in a chef. I realize that it can be working inside a cooking area. I realize it can be anything in a 9 to 5 job. I promise you it's hard work. Why is it so hard? Because you have no time to read. I realize that you have no time to be around billionaires. I realize you have no time to be around entrepreneurs because you have to make some money. Who chose that? You did. You chose that because somebody else told you that you must go work the 9 to 5. Otherwise, they'll never give you some money. You never care about that. You understand? Because you understand that you'll go after a 9 to 5 job and you'll read, and you'll start to read, and you'll realize that you never go there in the first place. Have a passion before you even get there. If you're there already and you have no passion, you have to find yourself a passion quickly, because nobody's going to plan it for you. I realize that a 9 to 5 job can go quickly, and when there's an economic recession happening in the outside world, you understand that there's no economic recession happening inside of you, because what's out there is negative, and what's inside is the best way to live. And you live the best way. You treat people in the best way. You make sure you're doing everything the best way. You're never working for a pay rise. I realize that pay rise. You have to understand it's never about a pay rise. I realize that it's about a capital rise. You understand? So you are a person who's giving it to yourself first, because nobody else is going to give you a capital raise in life. I realize I save so much time now. I have so much more money. I have so much more freedom because I look for it. I search for it, and I search for the golden eggs, and I find it, because I never sook. I go and find it. I go and search for it. I seek it out. I seek a better life. I seek success, and I am success because I'm a person of great integrity. I'm a person of great willpower. I'm better than fame. I'm better than everything in this lifetime, and I treat myself that way. I treat myself in a way that nothing can stop me, because as soon as you try to put me down, I leave you and I never see you again. because I already see the person you are, and I never have to be around that person. I realize that when you give me the first thought that is negative, I promise you, I found you out. You understand? Because you understand that I'll go on your social media, I'll look at what you have. I'll look at what content are you bringing into the world and what are you giving that's really shining. Because I have 4,000 photos that I'm modeling of myself, and I have over 250 hours of video, and I have also 2 years of journaling and over 23,000 quotes, and I have full of my beautiful videos and photos of myself. And my note system, I realize that no matter what, I use my note system all the time. I'm always pumped up, I'm always ready to go. I'm always ready to leave this place. You understand? I'm always ready to die. I'm ready to die always. I'm always dying. I'm always dying because I'm growing. You understand? I'm dying all the time to the past. I'm always moving forward. And I have no ego. Why? Because I always challenge the ego. I challenge the ego, I challenge people's egos. I challenge what you say. I challenge what your mum says. I challenge what your dad says. You understand? I challenge all of you. I always challenge you, because as soon as your dad says that you must go this way because it's much better for you, and I see something much better than your dad, I promise you that I don't care. Go and make a decision. Would you rather listen to your dad who has less than $1 million, or would you rather listen to somebody who is giving more value than your dad and is much more successful and has over $1 million? You understand? So you be the judge, and the judge is really much to grow you. And you must grow you in life. You must be a person who's growing you, and you must never judge people or be offended about what I say, because I speak in the best interest. I speak in the best interest, and when I have a conversation, I'm always nice about it. I'm never rude about what I do. I look in the best way. I feel the best way. I make sure I groom myself every day, and I make sure to pluck my eyebrows. I make sure no matter what, I look better. I had to do some laser treatment also 3 times, and luckily I did meet a woman who can actually do it for me in a way that it's much faster than other people, and that way I got some hairs off my body and I look better for it. I started modeling and I can take my shirt off, and I have no self-esteem issues about how much hair I have on my body now. You understand? So I feel better because laser treatment helped me. I realized it helped me to boost my self-esteem, although it's really that I gave the money for it and I had the money to give. I still have money much more than yesterday, and I realized that I am a person who is always achieving much more. I have goals, I have many goals, and I achieve them more now. Understand? When you have goals, I need you to understand. You have goals, I need you to say, I achieve all my goals now. You've already achieved it because you've said it. So now what you have to do is, I realize that now what you have to do is, you need to go and start planning for it now. You have to start planning, because the mindset is that you achieve it now. And that's always going to be. You understand? The mindset and what is positive is always going to be. So be on the positive side and say you will achieve it. You will achieve it. And when people say no, you will achieve it. When they call you an asshole, you say, I'm better than an asshole. You never be offended by people. And when you're angry and when you're accusing people and when you're shoving people down the pipe and you're kicking them down, I promise you that is what you're kicking down yourself. You're kicking down yourself because of that. And never be that person. If you need to make it on the screens, and if you need to be somebody of interest in the world, you need to be interesting. And you need to be able to create that talent for yourself. You need to develop it over time. Understand? So there is no get rich quick, although there is. Understand? There is. You just have to discipline yourself. And it's really easy to discipline yourself and stay away from soccer because you don't like those people. It's that easy. And because you never have to go to soccer anymore, you then will find other ways to go around other people. And because you never have to go Herbalife anymore because those people never like you, you go somewhere else. And because you never have to be around your parents anymore because they're never millionaires and you need to find someone better, you'll leave the whole town together in Sydney or in your area and you go somewhere else. And you just leave because you can. And because you never listen to the crowd anymore, you'll listen to entrepreneurs now. And you're disciplined like that. You're disciplining yourself like that. And because you never love meat anymore, you change your habits anymore. You change your habits now, and you'll be a better person for it. And you challenge your friends and parents, and you realize that you go away from them because meat is never the way to go, and you'll change it into veganism. And you'll do it on your own. And you'll go to the supermarket and you'll study upon it, and you look at everything on the label, and you'll go on Google and you'll find out what you need to do, and you'll find out what that is, and then you slowly, each and every day, your information will progress in that field, and then you start teaching it, and you realize that because you're taking action, and you're taking massive action to do all that, and you're making the supermarket your university, you realize that because you did that, you'll be a better person for it. You'll be a person who has more interest. You'll be a person who can really develop. And because somebody said that they have a phone and you can now afford it, I realize that you can now afford something greater than a phone because you have something that you can afford. Understand? I mean, when that person doesn't go for you, you go for someone else. And when you realize that you have to go for someone else, you never go for them because you let them come to you. You understand? You understand? Because it's never about going for people. I realize it's more about getting people to come for you. I mean, it's more mind your own business and let them be interested in you, while you never have to be interested in them because you give them more value. You understand? So that's the whole point of achievement and success. I realize it's those people who can really look good in their 50s and have the ripped muscle abs like Hulk Hogan. Understand? I mean, when you're really chiseled and when you're really big and you can pump it, you understand? In a way that's natural, and you never do it the steroids way, and you never need the gym either. I mean, you save money, you save 60 grand, but just never going to the gym all your life. I mean, they put some subscription plans on you, you understand? And if you plan to live up to 100, you then calculate your age right now. You may be a person who is 28. You then calculate your age, which is 72 years to go, and you'll realize that each fortnight, they're going to charge you 28 bucks a fortnight. And then you go 26 times 26. 28 times 26 is a certain number. I mean, they give you a certain number in the year. You have to give them just because you are going into the gym. You then times that number that is for the full year, you times it by 72. I promise you, over your lifetime, you'll give that much money into the gym. I think long term this way. I never think, I just see it. I just calculate it, and guess what? Because I never go to the gym for the next 73 years, I save 54 grand. Understand? So you understand that way I make some money and I have an easier time. And what do I do now since I have no gym? I realize I can do it inside my accommodation. I can get myself a power tube. I can go to the park and I can start doing ab work. I can start doing muscle work on the concrete and on the chairs and tables, and I can realize I can start doing push-ups and I can do sit-ups and I can do yoga and I can be in the park. I never have to be inside a gym pumping weights, you understand? I realize that it's never about being a steroids person who tries to go for the Mr. Universe and dies before he even gets there. Understand? So realize I am not laughing at him. I'm not laughing at anybody. You have to understand I'm rich about it. I realize that it's more about you never ever do that. Understand? You never pump the steroids so that you can achieve world fame in Mr. Universe or Mrs. Universe. Understand? I've never met a woman who does steroids. I've never met one. I mean, they're really big and they're doing it naturally, those women. I've never met a woman who has done steroids in my life. I can say it's the first time. You have to understand that you also have to realize I've never met a police officer that's been very successful. I've never met one. I've never met a person in a 9-to-5 job who's been very successful. I've never met one. Understand? So stay away from that, please. And be a person who can really, let's say, achieve more. So achieve more in a way that you're communicating more, you're giving more, understand? Because it's going to make you more wholehearted and you're going to be a kinder person. And never just reply to anybody, please. Because many people are going to come and say, you follow me. I don't know who you are, man. I don't know who you are. I don't even know myself. Although, why would I follow you? I don't know what you're doing, bro. I mean, I look at his Instagram and I promise you the guy has 2 photos. I don't know why I follow you because I follow nobody on my Instagram. Why would I follow you? I follow nobody on my Instagram. I don't even follow my mentors on my Instagram, let alone you. And you understand? So be a person who can really laugh it off in a way that you're never laughing at other people, although you're laughing at your own tremendous humor because other people never get you in the first place. You understand? So be a person who can describe your humor in a way and be a funny person, although you're being a funny person in a growth way. I mean, you're being a funny person in a growth way. You're doing something according to how interesting you are, you're being a better person for it, and realize that no matter what, you always have time. I mean, the time is now. I mean, what other time is there in life? You be a better person for it. In a sense, so just be a person who's succeeding more and looking towards something greater for answers. I, guys, will say that in this video, I taught you many aspects of life. I hope that you go and achieve it. I hope that I leave you in this video in a great way. Although you have to understand that in this video, I've been great. You have to understand that I'm a great person because I'm your friend. You understand? Because in this video, you have to understand I've taught you many aspects of life, and I hope that you go and share it. I hope that you realize that you encourage yourself. I hope you realize that you be a greater person than yesterday. And guys, that's what it's all about. I realize it's about be a better person and really shine through your videos and through your audios and through your quotes and keep consistent. Because when I started on Facebook and I started posting quotes, I promise you people started blocking me. I promise you people started unfriending me. And it's really from the crowd that I lived in a sense. So I promise you they were never happy for me. And most people are never happy for you either. I promise you the only person that's going to be happier for you is you. So just realize that. I'll leave you guys to it, and I hope that you guys share this video for something greater, and I'll see you guys in the next video.